Bucky is back to explain swag. But, Acho, did the Rams live up to the hype?
Absolutely, fellas. Ball is simple. Fans, ball is simple. I'm going to break it down, and sometimes because of the show, I get overly complex. But yesterday, I realized it's this. Your best players got to play their best. Period.
That's it.
That's it. Matthew Stafford, offensively, he should be the best player for the Rams, particularly based on what they gave up to get him. Matthew Stafford was a beast. First player in a debut, 3 tugs, over 300 yards, plus a dub, like beast, all-around dog. Cooper Kupp at wideout. People sleep on him for whatever reason. But Cooper Kupp was a beast. Defensively, Jalen Ramsey, best player on the football field. And if it wasn't Jalen Ramsey, it was Aaron Donald. Their 2 best players were the best players. Beast. I have the Rams going to the Super Bowl. I have them losing the Super Bowl to the Chiefs. I predicted it on Friday before the season starts. And after Sunday's night, so yesterday's game, I feel great about that prediction. Why? Because as long as the best players continue to play their best, they will be fine. Off talent alone, Jalen Ramsey is probably the best defensive back in the National Football League. At worst, he's top 3. Off talent alone, Aaron Donald is the best defensive lineman in the National Football League, especially the best defensive tackle. Off talent alone, Matthew Stafford is a top 5 quarterback. Off talent alone. We know this much. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But as me and Sel discussed on Friday, what happens when talent does work hard? The Rams may be one of the most talented rosters in the National Football League. Yesterday, they worked exceptionally hard and exceptionally smart, and they do look the part. Lived up to the hype.
Yeah, they lived up to the hype in that nice stadium. Boy, I'm telling you, SoFi, Charger Stadium, insane. We let y'all borrow it for a week, Rams. And y'all went out there and lived up to the hype. However, I can't go all kumbaya up here. I got to give them props, and then I also got to push back a little bit because Acho will go extreme either way. Here's the thing. Sean McVay, 5th season as a head coach. What's his record in week 1, y'all? Anybody? Yeah, he's never lost. So this is what Sean McVay does, no matter who the quarterback is. Now, here's the thing that I love. I compared Matthew Stafford versus Matthew Stafford, and I'm like, oh, Matthew Stafford, you went out there and did something. Not only did you set a record for passer rating with a new team by all quarterbacks, you also set your career highs in passer rating and yards per attempt. Matthew Stafford, career game, first game, Sean McVay, new stadium, new city, new team. Highly interested in that. You compare him to last year with Jared Goff. And already the 2 50-yard-plus touchdowns is as many as Jared Goff had all last year. So you start to say, okay, they really got better at the most important position. How much better? That's what I want to push back on because Sean McVay knows there's still some issues with this team. Y'all remember at halftime we were watching this game? We were like, why are they only up 6? They should have ran this team off the field, boat raced them, but they did not. Also, they were outrushed by the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears had 10-plus more minutes of time of possession. There were a few things that I saw. They didn't have 100 yards rushing. You got to go back to last year, week 11, before you see that. All that said, it looked like an amazing performance because the Rams got better at the most important position. How much better? I think a lot of that is yet to be seen, especially what looks like the toughest division in the NFL.
Hey, look, man, it's tough right now because it's just a regular season. And really, we can't judge and evaluate Matthew Stafford until we get to the playoffs. But right now, what Matthew Stafford and the Rams did was like us being at the barbecue. We had the cookout. We're playing a game of spades. And I'm Sean McVay, and I open up my hand. I got big joker, little joker, and then I got the wild card at the top. So when I got that, I can beat anybody because my hand is better than your hand. But what we will see is what is Sean McVay like in the playoffs when he may not have that hand, when he doesn't necessarily have the best players all around. But let me say this. If you want to be a great coach, the best thing you can do is get great players. And when you got great players, everything looks great. There ain't a Hall of Fame coach without Hall of Fame players that he's instructed. And so when I look at Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald and Matthew Stafford, it does look a lot different. And I sat up here and I defended Jared Goff and all of that. And I like Jared Goff. But it's a little different when Matthew Stafford is throwing the rock. When Cooper Kupp and those guys are getting behind you, you now have a quarterback that can make it happen. And what typically happens is A-level quarterback elevate those around him. I will say this without being disrespectful. The Rams don't have an elite number 1 receiver, but they got a bunch of B's, B pluses, that can get it done because now they got an A-level quarterback, and that makes the difference when we're looking at this game. Matthew Stafford definitely elevates the Rams, but he won't be judged until we get to the postseason and see if he can lead them to win when it's about playing against other elite teams. We won't know that until the postseason.
Bucky, I don't like all that, man. I love your take, and I'm going to agree with the latter half of your take and the latter half of my take, but I don't like rendering the next 17 weeks of ball meaningless for Stafford. I feel you. You know, he's 0-3 in the playoffs, so I do feel you. You're not necessarily wrong. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that you're saying we can't cast any sort of meaning or judgment to these next 16, 17 weeks of ball. Don't do that to me, Bucky. Don't rob me of my joy. Don't do that, please. Now, let me tell you why I agree with you. I love your spades reference, right? You can have the trump cards for those that don't play spades, the big joker. You can add a little joker. You might play deuces high, or you might play aces high, depending on who you're playing with. I like that. It's not about what hand you have. It's about how you play your hand. I like that. You're on point with everything you're saying, Bucky. Here's the thing. I don't know that any team will have a better hand, if you will, in the NFC than the Rams. Yeah. No team has a defensive lineman MVP in the NFC. Remember, the MVPs defensively last year, Myles Garrett was flirting with it. Your boy T.J. Watt was flirting with it. But in the NFC, ain't nobody touching Aaron Donald. In the NFC, when you're talking about cornerbacks, ain't nobody really touching Ramsey now. My dog Jair Alexander, a dog for the Packers. He a dog. But when you're really talking about Tre'Davious White for the Bills, when you're talking about my dude for the Dolphins, name slipped my mind, just got paid, not Byron Jones. Howard, dog. But in the NFC, I do think the Rams are going to be able to roll up against any opponent and have a better roster than just about every opponent except for the Bucs. So again, if they're the most talented team, except for the Bucs in the NFC, I think they can just keep, big joker, give me that. Little joker, give me that. Ace, I need that. King, I need to stop playing. Okay, y'all out of spades. Just put the cards down. Give me the rest of the book.
I love that feeling.
The rest of the book.
Lay them down, boy. Hold on. Acho, you got me hyped right now. I'm at the cookout. Hey, what you talking about, Keisha? What you talking about? Boy, tear the ribs up in that white linen. Boy, you better stop playing. What about James Bradbury? No, he's a good corner, but he played for the Giants. That ain't gonna help. Okay, look. What about Chandler Jones? Chandler Jones. Look, he ain't Aaron Donald, but he's of all active players third on the list in terms of sack production.
Jones a dude now.
Beyond a dude now. That dude. But respect to what you said. But you lied also, Acho. I heard you say this quote. Don't, Bucky, Acho, when he get into his little zone. Bucky, I like what you did. I'm going to bury half your take and then half of my take. I'm like, what the hell is your whole take? Okay, here we go. You rob me of my joy. You going to sit up here and say, don't let Bucky rob you of your joy when you rob me of my joy every basketball season. You act like you can't give a proposition to a player that we don't care about what you do in the regular season. Just the postseason. You do it every year to my man, Paul George. You know what you start doing when it comes playoff time? You forget his name is Paul George. You start calling him Playoff P. Then you get real comfortable when you see one bad shot. Oh, he Pandemic P. Then you get real comfortable when you see one bad game. Oh, he ain't an all-star. He a some star. Hey, bruh, sometimes it gets down like that. And we looking at Matthew Stafford and his multiple wives. How many wives he had in the game yesterday? Y'all see that? That was crazy. Hilarious. I'm glad they clarified that because he ain't got 2 wives. He got 1. How many times you going to look at Matthew Stafford and then be like, we're just going to forget about your 0-3 in the playoffs? And one thing I know about this, I'm not even going to go into the psychology like Matthew Stafford ain't ready for the big stage. I'm not going to go there. I will go here, though. Playing in the playoffs, you know that bump in speed and bump in intensity that you go through from preseason to regular season, and then when you're really fighting with something on the line, and then when you get into the postseason, it's a different animal. So let's see if Matthew Stafford can show up when it matters most. Is he an all-star or some star?